Hey everybody, and welcome to the Faster Way to Fat Loss. I am so excited that you're here and to begin this journey of transformation over the next 7 weeks. So first of all, I want to make sure that everyone has gotten their welcome email from me. That includes a comprehensive program guide. It's a really long document with all this information on Faster Way to Fat Loss. You probably read it and got super overwhelmed, but don't worry, we're going to walk through this together. Prep week, it's like drinking from a fire hose. I felt like the first 3 days it was super overwhelming. And then after that, I felt like I had the hang of it right away. So I'm so excited to see how this goes. You are going to have a lot of questions. I had a ton of questions. I'm sure I drove my coach crazy. But what I'm going to ask is that if you have a question, someone else probably has that exact same question, just like what they tell us in school. So if you can go ahead and post your question in the Facebook group, I will do my best to get to it right away. But then everyone can see the answer to that question because I'm sure that they are wondering the same thing. I am going to be in that Facebook group as much as possible. I do have a full-time job, but when you post a question or you post your macros for the day, if you can make sure to tag me in it, that would be awesome. And if I don't respond to it within, let's say, like a little over 12 hours, tag me again. I'm not going to be offended. It's probably just that I missed it on Facebook. So I am going to, on the first day, there is the information to the portal. There is a men's and a women's portal, and that has a ton of good information. That is where you're going to find your workouts for the week. It'll have a like infograph of the carb cycle, which you'll have down after 2 weeks. But I screenshotted it and put it on my phone, so it was really easy for me to pull up to see what day it was. And there's also going to be a list of approved foods. It's a little short, so just know that it's not a Bible. It's just a guide to try to get you started. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. But also know that if it grew from the ground or if it has a mother, it's probably good to eat. So that's our whole food nutrition. So I am going to be in the Facebook group every single day. In the morning, there will be a post from me. It'll let you know what day it is in the cycle, what workout we're doing, and there will be like a recipe, a tip, some snack ideas, or like an interesting article that I found. This group is really awesome because it's great for accountability, and it's also a great opportunity for us to encourage one another. At the end of each day, I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot of your MyFitnessPal, the nutrient tab. So the one that says like proteins, carbs, and there's like little blue lines that go across. I'm going to have you screenshot that and then post it in the thread of the daily post. And then I will respond to it every day. And this is how I am going to help coach you. So I can check in with you, see how you're doing, and then give you helpful hints and tips along the way. You're also going to, with that screenshot, let me know how long you fasted and then what your eating window was. So I always say like fasted 16, eating window 12 to 8, and then whether I worked out or not. So to get us started, before we get going here, I'm going to ask that you fill out the new client assessment form. I will put a link to that or make sure that it is emailed to you. I want you to take your measurements and a photo and some before pictures. I know this is super uncomfortable. I make my mom measure me all the time now because I'm always interested to know where I am because it's crazy to see the progress. I want you to take your weight today so we can get your starting weight to put into MyFitnessPal, but then as my coach Whitney says, put it in the trash and burn it because the scale doesn't really tell us what our health is, and through this program your weight is going to fluctuate, and so I don't want you to get discouraged because we're going to be building lean muscle, which weighs more than fat. So we're kind of going to be building muscle, burning fat, building muscle, burning fat. So it'll grow upon each other, but the scale isn't going to be helpful in this process. If you really, really want to know at the end of 6 weeks, you totally can. But what's going to be a lot better are those measurements. In the program guide, there is a little guide onto where you measure, but I'm going to also suggest that you measure different parts of your stomach. That has really been fun for me to watch, like my body shape kind of change. I want you to write down your goals. So what do you want to get out of these 6 weeks? Do you want to have better energy? Do you want to get your groove back or have the energy to get up and dance? Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to run further, or get stronger, or what are you looking to do so that we can work on those together? And then I also want you to download the MyFitnessPal, and you don't need to pay for it. Just the free version is going to be awesome. So let's talk a little bit about MyFitnessPal. I'm going to be posting a lot of tips this week about ways to make it easier for you. They're talking about the scanning app and the recipe function, but just begin to log your food and get in that habit. I think I'm kind of excited because now it tells me how many days I've tracked in a row, and I think I'm almost to 80, which I think is pretty cool. And we're going to focus on tracking our macros, not our calories. So we'll talk about the food cycle, but we want to have 50% of our macros come from carbs, 20% from protein, and 30% from fat. So when you go to make your settings on your MyFitnessPal, I'm going to ask that you put in your weight, and then when it talks about your goals, I don't want you to put more than half a pound or 1 pound per week, because I want to make sure that our calorie intake is still pretty high. And make your activity level. If you're like me and you work at a desk all day and you weren't really working out before the program, I made my activity level slightly active because I'm still a human. I'm still getting up and walking around. But if you have a really active job, if you're walking a lot, make sure that you put your activity level as active. And there will be a video coming from our founder, Amanda Trust, about more about MyFitnessPal. So let's talk about the program overview a little bit. So our first main component is fasting, which sounds a lot scarier than it is. I love to snack. I love to eat all the time. And then I'm not kidding, guys. When I started the program on prep week, I decided to fast, and I never went back to eating after 8 p.m. again. It was crazy. I wasn't hungry because we're eating so much during our eating window. So what we want to do is get to a 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. If that's going to be an issue for you for any medical reasons, please let me know and we will figure it out, and we can move to more of a 12-12 fasting window. But you set your hours. 12 to 8 works really well for me. I never really liked breakfast, but I really love later nights. But for other people who love breakfast, maybe a 10 to 6 fasting window would work better. And it's totally okay if it varies. Like if you get brunch plans, you just want to stop eating a little bit sooner the day before, so then you're still fasting for those 16 hours. So you would stop eating at 7 so you can make 11 a.m. brunch reservations. This week, let's work our way up to that fasting window. There's no need to just go cold turkey. Start with 12-12, see if that works for you, or even 10, 14, and work our way up slowly. So the science behind why we fast, there's been some incredible research and some great articles, and I'll do my best to post some, but it really gives our body some digestive rest, and it really helps us to burn up our fat storages and deplete our glycogen during those 16 hours, because if you're eating 6 little meals a day, we're never giving our body time to rest. And so we're doing the opposite. So you've heard about those eat 6 small meals a day. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to not eat and give our body time to heal and rest and reach into our fat storages to burn up that fat. And then we're going to refuel it during those 8 hours of eating. Down the road, we're going to have an optional 24-hour fast. You don't have to do it, but you'll have the opportunity. I normally on those days do about a 20-hour fast, because that's when I start to feel a little icky. And again, it's totally optional, or we can just continue with the food cycle we have, but we have lots of time to talk to that. That's in weeks 4, 5, and 6. So plenty down the road. So next we're going to talk about our carb cycling and intentional exercising. So we pair the exercises we do with the day of the carb cycle. So for women, there are 3 types of days. We have our regular macro days, our low macro days, and our low carb days. And those are kind of confusing words. And when I was explaining it to my parents, they were like, can we call them something else? But eventually it'll make sense, or maybe by the end of this, we'll come up with different names for them. But on our low carb days, so that is normally Monday and Tuesday of the week, they are back to back. And that is when we're depleting our glycogen storages. So all those carbohydrates that we're building up in our system, we're depleting those because our body burns carbs fast, or first. It really likes to burn carbs, but we want it to burn fat. And that's what gives us this tremendous energy. It's crazy. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, we're going to really restrict our carb intake. But we're going to increase our fat intake, which is really fun for me because I learned that I really love fat through this program. So women are going to eat less than 50 net carbs a day. Men are going to eat less than 100, and breastfeeding moms are going to also join the men in that 100 net carbs. So what a net carb is it's your total carbohydrates minus your dietary fiber for the day. So you can go over on carbs a little bit as long as your dietary fiber is high as well. And we can talk about that more. But on those low carb days, we're going to do a HIIT or a sprint training. training, which sounds scary, but I actually really like low carb day workouts. I never thought I would like to run, but it's just a 20-second sprint, and you can do anything for 20 seconds. And sometimes I'll just do the sprint training both days because I really enjoy that. So you can always switch it up. If you don't like running, you can do the HIIT training both days. But it's all laid out for you in the portal really nice. And that's a day that we get to eat lots of healthy fats. So salami, avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, bulletproof coffee. The options are endless. And I'm going to post something early in the week about what I eat on low carb days. So then our regular macro day, we want to make sure that we have a big swing with our carbs. So if we're going to eat less than 150 carbs, we want to eat at least 100 carbs that next day. And preferably we want to shoot for the MyFitnessPal recommendation. But I know when starting the program, it's really hard because I had a really hard time hitting my carb goals because I was eating and eating and eating and I was like still low. So we're going to talk about some easy ways to get some good carbs in, lots of brown rice and quinoa, sweet potatoes. I drink a lot of juice on those days, which is kind of fun and a special treat. On our regular macro days, we are going to lift, which sounds scary, and I didn't ever think I would like that, but I also really love my strength training days because I can feel myself getting stronger, and the workouts are awesome, guys. I really think that you're going to love them. And during those days, we are replenishing our carbohydrate storage so we can build lean muscle, which burns even more fat later on. And then our low macro days, which are only for women. So we're going to eat 25% of our MyFitnessPal settings. And I don't really ever do the math necessarily. I just look at that blue line, and instead of having it go, I'm wanting it to go all the way across our phone screens, I have it, you try to hit that like 75% mark. But if you're going to do the math, you would just multiply your daily gram goals by 0.75, and that's how you would get them. The nice thing about low macro days is that we also get to rest on these days. Those are our rest days. So you can always move around your carb cycling days, but we just want to make sure that those two low carb days are back to back. So we're really depleting our carb storage. And then I don't want you to mess with your MyFitnessPal settings on your low macro days, and I don't want you to input your exercise. We will just keep track of that between us, and then it won't get like confusing with the MyFitnessPal tries to do too much sometimes. So Saturdays are our fun days. So they are our leg days, and that is when we're exercising our biggest muscle group. So we also kind of call it our treat day, or if it fits your macros. So this is the day where you can have that special treat. Some people like donuts a lot, or ice cream or wine. My treat is like always pizza. So I'm always eating that. And that day we're going to get our leg workout in, and then we're not going to really worry about not eating specific things, and we're going to treat ourselves, and we're still going to put it into MyFitnessPal so we can look at it, but it's a really fun day, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So a note about the exercises is that there are 3 levels. So there's beginner, at home, and gym. I started this, I think that I used 10-pound weights the whole time, and I did it in my basement, which is a little scary, but they take, like, honestly guys, like 15 minutes is normally how long it takes me to do it. And each exercise has a link. So there's a blue hyperlink that you can click on it, and it'll take you to the exercise. And now that I've been doing this for so long, I still sometimes will go and look at the exercise movement just to make sure that I'm doing it right, but it's super helpful. You can print them if you prefer instead of using the portal. So then you have it if you don't want to like go back and forth. Normally I just use my phone. Sometimes it's nice if I'm at home and I use my computer and have that up. So then it doesn't mess up my music is really what I'm worried about. If you're going from not working out to trying something, they are hard. So just really like listen to your body, modify when you need to. If you need help modifying the movements, reach out to me and we can do that together. I modify a lot of the movements, so I can send you what I do. And my first round, I probably did 2 workouts a week out of the 5, and now I'm trying to do about 4 of them. So I'm definitely getting stronger, and it's really cool to see that. But definitely start out slow and start at your pace, and you don't even have to do the workouts. People have seen incredible results on this program without working out a single day. So we're going to talk a little bit about the whole food nutrition. So this is really what helps our bodies to function at top performance is we're eating real food. So we're going to eat lots of veggies and lots of fruit, some protein. I suggest varying up your protein so you don't get bored. Complex carbohydrates, nuts and seeds. And like I said, if it's from the ground or it has a mother, it is good to go. This can be new to your diet. And so we are going to shop the outside aisles of the grocery store. And that's a really great way to stay away from processed food. We are also in our first round going to do our best to be gluten and dairy free. They just have a lot of icky processed or antibiotics in them that can upset people, make them bloated, make them not feel well. And so we just want to see what your body looks like functioning off of those. So if you need help with that, I'm happy to help. I have lots of good recipes that I can't wait to share with everyone. We are also going to practice progress over perfection. I will say that so much, and it's super helpful that, we want our macros to be perfect. We want the encouragement from one another for people to see. But honestly, life is a journey, and we're not going to be perfect every single day. And we're just going to take those small wins and be positive, and really appreciate the progress that we're seeing in ourselves. I'm also going to post a video later this week on whole food nutrition. So my goals for you for this program, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but we're going to eat more and we're going to work out less. A lot of us have been under eating and over exercising for a very long time, and we want to work smarter and not harder. And we've also been taught through our generation that carbs are bad. And so it's a little bit of a mind trick to teach ourselves again that carbs are good and that they're really what helps our body to function at its peak. We're going to stay positive. I love positivity, and just realize that one bad choice doesn't domino our entire day or week, that we're just going to take a moment, breathe, and then we're going to move on from that. And we're going to track it, and it's going to be fine. And I will never admonish you for what your macros look like. I will just continue to encourage you. We are not going to stress about counting calories with our macros. So we're just going to focus on macros. The biggest issues with calories is that people undereat. And that was one of the things that I was finding when I started the program, is that I wasn't getting enough calories during the day, but we want to make sure that we get enough so that we're not hungry during our fasting window, which hasn't happened to me. And during your fasting window, if you're starving, please eat. This isn't about starving ourselves. It's about giving our body time to rest. And if one day it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try drinking water or an herbal tea first. But then if you have to eat, you have to eat. It's really important that we hit our protein goal. That was the hardest thing when I started in regards to my macros, was hitting my protein. Now sometimes I go over, but we want to hit within 20 grams of our protein goal either way. Getting a nice protein powder. I use collagen peptides in my coffee, but make sure you don't put those in your coffee until after your fasting window, was a great way for me to kind of cheat in some protein in there. I will post another video on the food cycling. Remember to stay off the scale. I want you guys to stay engaged and trust the process. If you follow this, your body will see changes. This isn't the faster way to fat gain. It's the fast way to fat loss, and it will work for you if you stick to the program. And please let me know if you have any questions. I cannot wait to start this journey with you. All right. I love you all. Goodbye.